Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Ninja Knight. Make sure you like the video, make sure you share the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I've dropped my Patreon link down below in the description. Thank you. So today I have an article from Bounding Into Comics, and it is a rumour. The rumour is saying that John Stewart will be the Green Lantern for Warner Brothers' rumoured new Justice League. Now, John Stewart is a favourite of mine, and I am absolutely delighted to see this. As a child growing up in the 90s, this was my Green Lantern. It was John Stewart. He was in the Justice League animated series and he was in the Justice League Unlimited series, where he boasted a new look of a shaved head and a beard. This is a very important character to me because, as I said, it was a character I grew up with, and I think it's very important that they absolutely nailed John Stewart in this movie. And I'm going to give a suggestion of a casting choice that I think that they should take on board if they were going to cast this character. This guy would be my number one choice, and he would be, for me, very fitting in the role, and he is also young enough and experienced enough, I think, to play this role. This role is a very important role in my opinion. In a follow-up to a previous story about a rumoured rebirth of the Justice League on film, we have a further hint that John Stewart will wear the Green Lantern ring for Sector 2814. A scoop by Mikey Sutton at Geekosity suggests Stewart is the Lantern for Warner Bros. Studios, who they want for the rumoured rebooted DC Extended Universe. They want to feed off the familiarity he created with the general public in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited on Cartoon Network in the early 2000s. So yeah, I definitely would be going for that one. I think that is a great idea. You have people that are old enough now to realise that John Stewart was their Green Lantern, and they have seen the subsequent shows with like Hal Jordan in them as well. That would be a very good idea to pick John Stewart, and I think you could definitely bring an audience towards John Stewart that were the same audience that you're bringing towards other heroes. John Stewart was the primary Lantern in place of Hal Jordan and Kyle Rayner for that matter. He was voiced by Phil Lamar, and Stewart became very popular and cultivated his own identity and fanbase. To be honest with you, he was the first figure that I purchased from the DC Multiverse line from McFarlane. I absolutely love John Stewart as a character. I mean, love him as a character. He's one of my favourite Lanterns, if not my favourite Lantern. He's the guy I always attribute to being Green Lantern for me because I grew up with him. Stewart, it goes on to say, will be part of a corps that will include various aliens as well. So he's going to have two teams to fight evil with, in keeping with comics. Very good idea going with the aliens, and if the suggested rumours are true of Tomar Ray and Kilowog having appeared in possibly the Snyder cut of the Justice League, that would be very interesting stuff to see. Other members of the Corps where we potentially get treated to additionally on the big screen again, like Guy, Kilowog and Tomar Ray, were not mentioned. I think Guy Gardner is an important factor, and I think I wouldn't have him in the initial movie, but certainly subsequent movies, because I think he brings a very strong comedic element, specifically when John Stewart is supposed to be a character that's very stern and very militaristic, which is based in his character. Sutton adds that Hal Jordan is on the way to the DCEU, but he won't be played again by Ryan Reynolds. The scoop continues on a related note. Reynolds and Jordan won't appear in the Snyder Cut. Those rumours are bogus, it says. Well, I mean, that was always going to be the way, in my opinion. I don't think Ryan Reynolds did a fantastic job as Hal Jordan, given the fact that Hal Jordan, for me, acts completely different. Now, this is an image of David Ramsey, I think, from the Arrowverse, who had been linked to being Green Lantern for some time, but I don't think that he would be the guy I would go with. Hal is expected to be the figurehead of the HBO Max series being produced by CW versus Greg Berlanti, oh no, and Jeff Johns, who's going through enough trouble now at the moment with Ray Fisher, but Greg Berlanti is always a name that makes me wince. There, the character will remain exclusive for a while. In the meantime, it'll be Stewart's light to shine on the silver screen, writes Sutton, bearing in mind the same is true for the small screen. David Ramsey will reprise John Diggle Stewart as a Green Lantern in Superman and Lois in 2021. Diggle was gifted a ring in a box at the end of Arrow's finale, indicating he'd be Earth Prime's resident space cop. And that's what I'm talking about with Greg Berlanti shows, man. That is not great. That might not spill over to the HBO Max show though. Sutton sources tell him it remains a question mark if it will be tied with the Arrowverse as Berlanti heads both. I certainly hope not, and that sounds troublesome if that's going to be the Green Lantern TV series. Anyway, on to John Stewart, who I think is a very important character. I would love to see this guy cast as John Stewart. He's called Sardarius Blaine. Now, people might be familiar with this guy from Jumanji. He played Anthony Fridge Johnson. He is over 6 foot tall. He is 33 years of age. And I think this guy would fit the bill of an individual that I think would pull an audience. He's quite a good looking man. And I think that this guy could definitely bring in an audience on his own if he was to be the figurehead and lead of this movie. He's 33, which means he's young enough and looks young enough as well too to have maybe a mentor over him, and I would have that mentor be Hal Jordan. I think Hal Jordan would be a very good dynamic, maybe a more older Hal Jordan. I would be looking at it like maybe, and I know he would probably be expensive, but Tom Cruise would be a good Hal Jordan in my opinion. Now, there are many other individuals that you could draft in as Hal Jordan, but I would love to see someone of a very big standard, because I think the Hal Jordan character could come in, could be a partner, and could eventually be phased out maybe then as the movies go along. I think it's super important though that DC, Warner Brothers, get somebody that's young on their books, which this guy is at 33. They get someone that's physically imposing, which this man is, absolutely. They get someone that will bring the ladies to the cinema, which this guy will, similarly to Jason Momoa. And they bring someone in that could definitely have that attributes of being a militaristic individual, which John Stewart is, and then when he switches over to the car, to bring that cool-headedness, that sensibility to it, which we've seen with this man within Jumanji. He hasn't done an awful lot else. He's done a few other bits and pieces here and there, but he, for me, would absolutely be my first and only choice for John Stewart. If you were to go somebody else, it might be Shameik Moore, who did the voice of Miles Morales in the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. But I am very aware of the fact that Shameik, I think, is 5'7", so he would be a lot smaller. I definitely would like to see a more physically imposing version of John Stewart. Considering that Ray Fisher is there as well as Cyborg, you would want something that was very physically imposing as Green Lantern, and I think Sir Darius Blaine would absolutely kill it. This is the rumour at the moment, so John Stewart looks like to be the top choice. I think this is a great idea. I think this is the best idea they could go with. If it was me, I would definitely have Hal Jordan in there somewhere as being a mentor or advisory role or a partner to John Stewart within this movie. I would start off the movie really focusing on John Stewart though. I would make no bones about it that this would be a John Stewart focused movie, and that you would have a cameo from Hal and other Lanterns as well. Where they want to go, if they wanted to fight the Sinestro Corps or Atrocitus and the Red Lanterns, I think that could be a good idea. I certainly think fighting another Corps of Lanterns would be a good way to go within this, given the fact that the first Hal Jordan centric movie that fought Parallax did not do too well. So I think that this should be a Corps versus Corps idea, and I know it would throw an awful lot of individuals straight into the world, but you would only need some quick exposition from a fellow person from Earth like Hal Jordan to bring the audience up to speed, and John Stewart himself, because John Stewart is an incredibly intelligent individual, so it wouldn't take him long to realise the threat and what needs to be done in response to that threat. That's where I'm leaving the rumour for today. I think that this is great. I'm very excited for this. What do you think? Are you excited for this? Did you grow up with John Stewart? Is he the Green Lantern that you wanted to see focus on in this movie? Would you have preferred Hal Jordan as the Green Lantern, or maybe Kyle, or maybe even Guy Gardner himself? Is John Stewart the man that you wanted to see in this movie? I will say, I will be biased, that John Stewart is the one I wanted to see, and I'm looking forward to this, and I hope that eventually Hal gets drafted in as well, and that we can have that Justice League connection with the Green Lantern as well too. I'm excited about this. This is a great rumour, and I'm very excited to see what happens from now. Drop a comment below, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Talk to you later. Good luck.